Okay, Warren. You've mentioned Rob Waterhouse, and funny enough, Rob Waterhouse told me, name dropping, that you are the best bagman in the modern age in Australia. Uh, if he says that, you probably are. So, what makes you that?
Um, I think, to be perfectly honest, that people by nature have a little bit of a habit that, if you think about it, if you go to a bar and the bartender says, "What would you like?" Even if you're not ready to order, you order. And at the races, I say to people, "May I help you?" And when I say that to someone, they immediately, "Oh, yes, I'll have." And so I think by doing that, I get punters betting earlier in betting, which allows me to turn over more tickets through the, say, 20-minute betting period. I also have a little bit of a ability to be dealing with customer A while I'm already talking to customer B.
Okay, so you you bet at 60 racecourses. That's more than there are in Great Britain, and you do 100,000 miles a year. Um,
Kilometers, please.
100,000 kilometers in a year. Even so, it's still quite a lot. Um,
Yeah.
so how many days a week do you work? How many week?
Pre-COVID,
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
pre-COVID, I was working probably 7 or 8 meetings a week. And when I say that is, I have gotten to the stage where I actually have licenses on, say, Saturdays and some of the other days where I have positions at two different race courses on the same day. So I'll send one of my key employees to one of the meetings and I'll go to the other meeting. So some days I'll actually be having two meetings, but on an average year, we'll go to 320 meetings. Our busiest week is early May, where we go to, if you can imagine, we go from Melbourne 4 hours to the north, then the next day 3 hours to the south, then 4 hours east to a big carnival, stay there for 2 days, jump in the car for an 8 hour drive to New South Wales for a carnival up there, overnight it back to Melbourne for the Saturday meeting there. So look, you have to, as I jokingly say, I'm sick, I need help. I probably do. My bookmaking colleagues think I do because truthfully, I would drive 10 hours to go to a race meeting if I was invited to work.
Okay, now your record is 2,807 self-written tickets in a day. Now, what sort of stakes would those be? You know, what would the range of those be per bet?
Oh, from $1 each way to, guys having two or three, 4,000 on a runner. I think in the day in question, I turned over 170,000. It was our Golden Slipper Day, which is our 2-year-old championship in Sydney. And we had two staff members not show up. And so we have two stands. We have an inside stand and outside stand. My father had the inside stand with 4 staff, and they did 3,000 tickets, and they beat me by about 180 tickets outside. But I held more money than they did, and won
Okay.
more.
You tell me that bagmen slow you down. Your staff sort of stop you taking as many bets. Is that right?
I really think it does. To be honest, it's very rare that I actually even have a bagman. And next year, when we do hopefully get to Ascot, because let's be honest, never a greater time of the year to be in England than Ascot, Queen's Club, Wimbledon. A great couple of weeks, but I will work for Rob. Rob will do his socializing, I would assume, and I will spend a lot of time on the stand by myself. And I would happily bet any of the bookmakers there, I'll turn over more tickets than they will, regardless their staff counts.
Now, this is a bit that you won't have a lot of competition. I'll tell you that because most of them just stand there. So if you're a showman and you say that you don't know what the bookmakers don't know what business they're in, it's an entertainment and service business. So how do you differ from other bookmakers? I know you've said about it a bit. You say what can I do for you, that sort of thing. But I mean, are you flamboyant on the joint? Do you sort of do a bit of a, do you make yourself known?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, having taught tennis for a lot of years, I have a big voice. I can carry a voice. You know, I used to talk to people across tennis courts. So to talk through a betting ring really doesn't, you know, affect me very much to sing out. But, you know, I have a lot of sort of silly things I say to encourage them, you know, like when I'm at a small country meeting where there might be 7 people in the betting ring and there's 10 minutes to go before the race, I might sing out, you know, very vocally, push in, avoid the rush, you know, just to sort of get them, and everyone laughs and has a look at the stand. That immediately gets them, you know, focusing on you, which is one of the big things. I famously have a joking, you know, statement that I sing out quite frequently. We've checked with the stewards, you're allowed to have a bet, you know, so you know, you sing out some funny things. And I also will ask the punters trivia questions based on runners' names, you know, quite frequently. So you know, like there's a horse running around last year called Hedron Collider. And I'd offer people a $20 free bet if they could tell me where the Hedron Collider was. You know, so things like that, you know, just to make it a little bit more fun.
But then you chose to work your way up through. I know you got the rails pitches, which is unlucky, but you've had to work in a lot of bad pitches, I imagine. Now, do you have to sort of bet to a really poor margin just to turn over business in those poor pitches, or if you're not betting to any sort of margin worth, do you sort of turn it in for the day? How would you carry on then?
No, I don't. I'm not a believer in turning it in. I think we're there for a service. The races give us an opportunity to use their facility to make a living. So we owe it to the clubs and we owe it to the people that are buying tickets and showing up to offer them a great service every single day. So if I go to, you know, a meeting at Bansdale where there might be a very, very poor crowd because it's cold and it's wet in the middle of the winter, I'm not going to suddenly go there and go, oh, well, you know, they're not here. I'm only 2 of us. We can offer a crappy product and a cheap, bad price. And they either take it or leave it. No, that's not my opinion, because those people talk. And when they go home and they say, I backed number 7 in the first and I got $8 and it won. I was so happy. And their buddies say, $8, it was $8 out to $12. When did you back it? You know, we destroy the reputation of other bookies as well as yourself. So I'm a great believer in that we are in a business that's customer service related. Like one of the things I'll do quite frequently, which seems nuts, but I might have $3.50, which, you know, 5 to 2 in the old, or as we used the old, as you would have it, 5 to 2. And I'm about to turn it out to 3 to 1. And a guy will walk up and say $50 on it as I'm sort of going to turn it out. And I'll say to him, look, I'm about to turn it out to 3 to 1. I'm going to give you the 3 to 1 because how angry are you at a bookmaker if you take 5 to 2 and before you walk a step away from the stand, he rolls it out to 3 to 1 in your face? It's ridiculously bad business and not good for your long-term prospects.
No, the minimum bet rule. All the professional gamblers in England, even gamblers that are just quite successful without being professionals, they think, look at the minimum bet rule, thinking, my God, if only we had that. Does that apply to a racecourse bookmaker?
It's actually, the funny thing is the minimum bet rule is bigger on the racecourse than it is online. If someone came to woodcockracing.com, because we're new and we're smaller, we only have to bet anyone to lose $1,000 on any given bet. But if they come to me at Flemington, I have to bet that same customer to win 3,000. And because the minimum bet laws are bigger in New South Wales, I have to bet a customer to win 5,000. So there's a certain degree of insanity to it which is also helps us, I think, in the long run, because if you do create a little bit more of an incentive to come to the track, the best prices are always at the track in Australia. And, you know, if you know you can get on for more money and you can get on at a better price, at least there's some incentive to, you know, put your phone in your pocket and get yourself out to the race course.
Okay, so have you got the right to refuse a punter point blank because you don't like them or because they're far too clever for you? Can you like close their account so that minimum bet rule doesn't come into effect?
The only thing you can, the only rule, and they should change it, and there's actually reviewing the policy right now, and it is sort of one-sided, to be honest, is that bookmakers get prices from interstate meetings through the service. They basically are sending you the price, from the track. So we're allowed to use a computer to get our prices. But if a punter is using a computer to put his bets on, he's not allowed to do that. They have to do that themselves, or on the phone or hand type the things. They can't have a bot, as some smarter people will know a bot is. That's crazy. I think that punters should be allowed to have bots. The only part of the minimum bet rules that I disagree with is I don't believe we're there for bookmakers, because there are a lot of bookmakers that are sort of punters as well. And we're there to serve a customer, and the customer is the people buying tickets. So I don't think there should be minimum bet laws for bookmakers to bookmaker transactions. That's just, I would bet a bookmaker I know who bets with me in good faith. Who's not just trying to knock me off because Betfair has gone off a tad. But there are some that really are just, and the worst part of it is a gentleman who owns the horse is walking to your stand, and some bookmaker's clerk goes running by him and screams out to win 2,000 or 3,000 or 5, and I've got to bet him, and now I've got to refuse the owner. That to me is insane. I never do refuse the owner in that case, but I don't think I should have to bet the bookmaker at the exclusion of the owner or the punter.